And welcome to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And folks, we got a great discussion. We're going to talk about the Asian boycott that's going across America within the Black community because of the Cyrus shooting. And it's something that should have been done a long time ago. We're going to discuss the White House issue of the UFC fighter that called Michelle Obama a man. So if you ain't got nothing to do, call your friends and let them know you're listening to Let the Truth Be Told Radio. I'm your host, Pastor David. Y'all come on in. And welcome to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And first, let me give all praises to Yahuwah and Yahusha. That's God in Christ in Hebrew. Well, it's about time. It is about time that the Black community has awakened. It's about time that to the American people and patriots across this country, several times you heard me come on the show and talk about all the other people who are in the Black community chasing the $3 trillion that Black people spend each year. Thus, you have all the different types of shops. You got nail shops by the Asian people. You got gas stations by the Arab community. You have all sorts of other people in the Black community chasing the Black dollar, and yet you don't see any Black store owners who can reinvest back into the Black community. Now, there's nothing wrong with a different ethnic group being in the Black community, but none of those groups that I just called reinvest into the Black community. So that's the problem that we're having today is this. After the Cyrus Belton shooting, Black people are sick and tired of Asians and everybody else being in our community, Mike Brown, killing our children over simple stuff like water and cigarette papers. It has come to my attention that the real reason and the problem why that these things continue to happen is because we don't respect Black business owners, and there's not enough Black businesses in the Black community to make a difference. And so we have to put up the negative attitude that these store owners dish out to us. Even though they call us, they follow us around the store, they accuse us of stealing. If you go to an Oriental place with a hair shop, they following you around. You go to buy clothes in their store, they're following you around, but yet they treat you like crap, but they still want your money. So what's going on across the country, this ban of giving Orientals our monies with nail shops and foot massages and buying hair and all of those things, the Black community is fed up. And so especially our women now are looking for other Black store owners in the Black community to do business with. And I guarantee you the Black businesses is flourishing because that's how it should be. We should not have Orientals. We should not have Mexicans. We should not have Italians. We should have no Jews. We should have no business owners in the Black community except Black businesses that we can reinvest in ourselves and become self-sufficient. And saying that, let me get my group in. We're going to talk about that. What's up, Bink?
How do you?
What's up, Dre Randy?
How
Hey,
you doing?
Good, good, good. Man, listen. What
gentlemen.
I've been talking about on this show, especially when I take over as the mayor of Chicago, is to get all the other people out of the black community. The Orientals going to be get out, the Arabs is going to be get out, and all of those businesses that are going to service black people are going to be black entrepreneurs and black businesses. What's your thoughts on that, Randy?
I disagree with you, Pastor, wholeheartedly, and here's why. That's the wrong approach to take. What I would recommend is that
Mhm.
if they want to be in the black community, they have to be what's known as a social responsibility to that community that they're in. So if they're making, say $1 million, they have to donate so much of a percentage to the community or invest into a housing project, school project, whatever the case is. They should be required to submit some kind of financial remittance to that community in order to stay
Mhm.
there.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
Your thoughts on that, Mr. Binky?
Well, I think most of our problem comes from being micromanaged by a state or federal government. I mean, it's hard for anybody to start a business.
mhm.
Especially the black. You got regulations here, a permit there, a license. They tell you what you can sell, how you can. It's even so bad, you guys, that in Illinois they've got laws now that if you're a cosmetologist or a barber or a beautician or whatever, and a kid comes in with a bruise on him and it looks suspicious, they're supposed to call it into the authorities. So I mean,
Mhm.
it's probably impacting the black community harder, but it affects everybody. Is when the state, Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Development is what they call it here.
Yep.
They come in and make rules for us, even the homeowners. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
they orchestrate how things are supposed to go. So I don't. It's good, like, as you're saying, the black community is not investing in itself. I kind of think
Yes.
it's it's made too hard for them to. You know,
Mhm.
Andre, can you hear us out there?
Yes, I can hear you
What's
guys. There's a little construction. There's a little construction going on around me, so I'm trying to move. But my take on this is what we've seen is more of the same. The I think it was Yale University actually did a study, and the study basically stated that because of the enforcement that Trump's been doing, it's going to affect the economic um, it's going to affect the economic prosperity of the country in 2030 and 2050. So they're saying that because we've applied enforcement, there's going to be less businesses created because immigrants create all these businesses. And another thing that they're saying is that we're going to lose a lot of our GDP as a result of this. So of course, there is another author from um, Breitbart that came in, and he's essentially saying, "You guys are full of crap. This is what actually happens when we had less immigration during the time that we had the Ford industry um, get propelled into prominence. What did we do? We adjusted and we innovated, and that's the problem. They don't think that Americans are innovative. Americans are very innovative. We just need the chance and the opportunity to open these businesses and be effective."
I agree.
and I
Uh,
and
the,
I and I agree with that too because it's there always have been barriers when it came to black people
mhm.
trying to open businesses in their own community.
Mhm.
But the gate swings open for people who come to this country who are given opportunities to open a business in the black business like yesterday. I mean, you see businesses in the black community springing up, but they're not black entrepreneurs. And that's my thought is even though even though now they're boycotting, the Asian businesses. And believe me, across the country, it's working. It shows you how strong the black dollar really is and how people should be grateful that they're in the black community making our money, but yet at the same time treating us and killing us and giving us secondhand goods and all the bad things that they can bring, but yet they want to make our money. And so my thought is the boycott that's happening right now is only the beginning, because just think about this. First of all, what it's going to do is this. It should force black entrepreneurs to start opening up businesses that can accommodate the black dollar. This is a good time for black businesses to open up and start. You don't need to, you get your license to resell, then you go get you some products, because they'll put the products in your store, and then you advertise so you can be a black business and you can reinvest. The same way that everybody else open business in the black community, black entrepreneurs should be allowed to do the same thing and reinvest in our community. So I like what they're doing with this boycott, because it's the disrespect that Asian owners, especially in the black community, treat us. Check this clip out, and then we'll respond to it right quick. This is what got it all started, really.
I love when the black community says, let's boycott Asian businesses. Please do. We'll get rid of the Chinese takeout, the dry cleaners, the laundromats. Let's get rid of the liquor stores as well. Get rid of the Jordans you guys wear, the Nikes you wear, the shower caps, the Hondas, the Hyundais, all your car electricians, the electronics in your house, the Sony, the TV system, your sound system, the microphones that you guys use to rap and speak about awareness for the black culture and the hip hop culture. What do you think that's made in? That's made all in Asia. And here's another thing for you guys. You guys want us to leave the neighborhood so bad? Oh, Asian people are in our neighborhoods? We're in white neighborhoods. We have our own Chinatown. We have our own Koreatown. You think we really need you guys to benefit off and make money? A lot of us.
Okay, Dre, your thoughts on that comment? He's telling the truth. He's telling the truth about all the stuff that they've captured in the black community, that they're making money off of us, but it's arrogance and disrespect. Your thoughts on that, Dre?
Well, it's the arrogance and posturing, because one of the things that he's saying is, oh, we're going to get rid of like the microphones and the Nikes. Oh, because we're boycotting businesses that are foreign owned, that are not treating black people right. China and other Asian countries are going to stop sending us products and stop making money. That sounds ridiculous. And the Asians in America are nowhere connected to that Asian economy abroad. So what he's saying doesn't even make any sense. And number two, like what we're seeing is the backlash. For him to even say it and come out and put his whole chest out and say it like he did, obviously he's bothered by it. Obviously, it is something that he believes will be a problem if the actual activism happens and the boycotts go through.
And the boycotts are going through. Randy, your thoughts on what he said?
You know, I got a few things actually. So, number one, the barrier to entry to start a business by minorities is significantly actually high. Okay, so you have people that come over from overseas, immigrants and whatnot. They can apply for a small business loan through the SBA, through whatever state ran program, and so they get that money to go into these communities to run a business. The reason why Black Americans struggle to do that is because we are already American citizens. This is the same thing with white Americans. You can't, both groups can't, or even Hispanics. All three groups can't go into the SBA and say, hey, I want a loan because, I'm a minority immigrant. They don't like, no, you're not. You're an American citizen. Go figure it out. Have a nice life. And so that is a lopsided system. So in order to I guess you could say, balance that system out, just say, okay, hey, you know what? We have way too many immigrant people coming over, opening up businesses in these communities. Let's give the opportunity to these folks instead. Redesignate that money and put it there. Now, the second thing, that guy there, what he's talking about, he's right. I wholeheartedly agree. But however, it goes back to what I was saying in the first point. They are able to get the wholesale contracting from these Asian markets to bring in these goods and everything else to put into their stores and whatnot. If you afforded that same opportunity to Black Americans, to white Americans, to Hispanic Americans who are trying to get into that market, into that domain, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now because we would have the ability to have the capital to access that same those same goods. So he's right. They got a cornerstone on it. They got a corner. They
Yeah, they
cornered the
do.
market. They cornered the market, yeah, but they only cornered the market because they took advantage of the systems that we set in place that blocked ourselves out of the very same system that they have access to.
Mr. Binky, your thoughts on what he said?
Well, he's just confirming what I was saying earlier. If he could sit there and say it's going to affect our microphones and our telephones and blah blah blah, it's because we're importing way too much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the reason we're importing all this stuff that he's using to extort us and basically saying go ahead because you depend on our Nikes and our Jordans and all this stuff is because we've overregulated and we've penalized American companies, American entrepreneurs, American small businesses. It don't have to be just the federal government. It's your cities, your counties. They all want a little bit of more of what you could earn to put back into your business so you could survive. And then, as Randy said, you go to the Small Business Administration to get a loan. Well, that loan is another government arm to control you because what government creates, it controls. And when you've got to go to government and say, I need this, there are rules.
Yep.
Okay, there's regulations. So there's the problem. We've got to fix what our government's already caused to start this big mess, to make it unaffordable, unattractive. We've got to fix that part of it before we can start being unified again.
But guys, this boycott is serious throughout the South and throughout the America now. Black women are not going into the nail salons. They are standing fast on it. And it's causing a lot of, businesses to close because that's the whole thing of it is. The Orientals are in our business and they do have a pact with an international pact that nobody can purchase in the Black community, can go outside them and purchase hair goods from anybody else. It all has to go through the Chinese. They're the ones who are holding that type of pact so they can control the pricing. And if you want to get the goods, you got to go through them. So they're going to make money anyway. See, that's the thing that bothers me the most in our community. And this is why I'm saying this is a good time for Black America, especially Black investors, to start coming together and opening up and allowing entrepreneurs, helping entrepreneurs open Black businesses, open up Black businesses so that they're capable of supplying the demand and needs to the Black community. This is a great time because now we can create that generational wealth because of the fact now we can teach our children how to run the stores just like everybody else is doing. See, they need to see this. Our children need to understand economics, and they don't. If they had an opportunity to open a store and run a business, if they've been taught how to do that, then the reinvestment into the Black community, and that would also allow a man to become a man or a woman to be a woman if they can take care of themselves and be responsible. Your thoughts, Randy?
I was just going to say, the problem that we face with trying to do that. You say you get 25 millionaires in a room, Black millionaires, 25 of them into a room. You automatically walk into a room of opposition because everybody's tribalistic, okay? And they already got in their mindset that if you don't think like them, if you don't talk the same lingo as them, if you don't even look like them in terms of the shade, that they're already against you. And so we have to overcome the tribalistic mentality that we have within the Black community. You can't expect economic, mobility or upward mobility in terms of economics if you can't even get past the first barrier, and that is the communication and the tribalistic mentality. And so that's what we struggle at. And you look at it, you see it in it. Matter of fact, a prime example. the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
the sports complex in its entirety, actually. So you got the NFL, the NBA, the Major League Baseball, hockey, the whole shebang. They're tribalistic, and these organization presidents and owners, they take advantage of that, and they pit everybody against each other intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine if the entire sports complex, all the blacks that play in the NBA, NFL, and all that, they came together and say, you know what, we're finna buy segments of the United States and build this for our families and our communities so they can prosper while we play sports and bring in the money and give it to them so they can grow businesses. You know, every single player will be benched or kicked off the team if that idea came to fruition. Just think about that. They won't allow that. So that once again, it goes back to the barrier of entry and the keeping of the division and keeping the tribalistic mentality going. Because if we allowed everybody to come together and say, hey, we want something for ourselves, they'd be like, nope, that's not going to happen. So I don't see us overcoming that, and that's going to be the problem. So we have no choice but to assimilate ourselves into other communities, into other markets and whatnot, to just thrive as individuals versus as a community.
Your thoughts, Dre?
Yeah, and I agree some with Randy. I think that we also need to bring this to the Trump administration. What ways or steps can we take to really get rid of some of the barriers that young Black Americans are having to starting a business? Can we create pipelines to teach them how to run businesses, and then
Mm-hmm.
when they're of age to take over the business, understand the loan process? Is there something like that in place? Because it's great that if we do this boycott and we start to disrupt what's happening, but if we don't fill this vacuum, there's going to be a
Yes.
different group of people that come and fill it. So I think it's also important that we set up a plan in place to get something off the ground to ensure that, you know, young Americans are opening their own businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's your thoughts on that, Big?
Well, you know, Randy brought up about bringing 25 Black millionaires in. Okay, I don't like rich people. I really don't. I really don't. I'm not rich, so I guess I'm jealous. But I don't like rich people. But you know, there's a place for rich people. So, as Randy said, you're bringing 25 million Black millionaires in there to invest in their community. Okay, you stay away from government. You stay away from banking. Let's Henry Ford was Henry Ford. This is a little research deal for you guys. Was Henry Ford rich when he opened up Ford?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
No.
That's what we've got to get back to the basics. I don't care about this progress, as I've always mentioned. Let's go back. How was Henry Ford able to open a business up, employ thousands of people? And it wasn't the unions that created the 40-hour work week and so on. It was Henry Ford that did that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what, I can't see why progress has got to stand in our way of our past, because our past can teach us, can show us, we can learn from it. But we've got to have government out of the way. So my suggestion is, of course, society's got to change their mentality, but I think we ought to be able to find those 25 millionaire Black millionaires and convince them, the Black community, convince them, if you invest in us, we can repay you back, and we can, as you said, learn how to be entrepreneurs and pay back that millionaire that helped you with your business.
And you know what? Exactly. I agree with all three of you guys. That's for sure. But the thing of it is too, is that because it's been going on so long, the disrespect to the Black dollar coming in, everybody's embedded into the community. Nobody is returning back. And the real shame is the Black politicians who allow them to come into the community. Because in Chicago, as an alderman, if you say no, you can't come into the community, you can't get in. So it's much bigger than than what
But
we see, because it's black politicians who have an opportunity to create these economic zones to make sure that black businesses are thriving. And that's part of the problem too, because there's no way, and I'm not a racist or nothing like that at all, but I see this, and I want your thoughts on this. With these nail shops, how many Chinese do business with black nail shops?
probably none. Probably none. Likely none. And to your point, Pastor, I'm gonna jump in on that point that you just made there about aldermen and city officials letting these folks in. That once again, it goes back to they need a tax base, and they this is that group of people that can get that money, get that capital, and so they can tax it. So yes, they're gonna let them in. They're gonna be like, yeah, you know what? Okay, yeah, you want to put up a shop? Yeah, okay. But guess what? We're gonna tax you 18% of your income, you know, and whatnot. And that Asian person is like, okay, cool, whatever. That Arab, they're like, okay, cool, whatever, you know, because I'm gonna make a whole lot more money anyway.
Yes.
And that's what that's that cycle that I'm talking about. And until we are able to break that cycle, and back to Binkie's point real quick, you know, you had Madam C.J. Walker, first African American female millionaire in the United
Yes.
States. When she created the hair products, she went out there and she gritted and grinded and, you know, created her industry. And then she tried to reach out and you know, share that knowledge and everything else to create other entrepreneurs. But guess what they did? They tribalistic mentality. Nah, we good. You trying to be like white folks. You think you better than us.
Exactly.
And they walked away. And so she's like, well, I'm gonna have all this money and wealth to myself, have one kid, and pass it on to them. And they got caught up in that BS, and it all went away. You know,
But
so
see,
that's where we at. We gotta
and,
get
and
over
the
that. We
point,
gotta get over that mentality.
and that's the point that I'm making. Just like Dre was talking about, at the end of the day, with this boycott, and it's working right now. So
But for how
what's going
long?
to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen after the boycott?
Exactly.
Let me play this tape, and then we'll talk a little bit about it.
Boycott movement that started after the Rick Chow verdict is showing no signs of slowing down. In fact, many people online now believe it's beginning to have a real impact.
Hey, black community, how's that Asian boycott working out for you, man? I mean, I've been watching it online, how y'all gonna stop dealing with Asian establishments and so on and so on. So at least be the ones to go, these women, where they're gonna get their hair from, their eyelashes, where they're gonna get their nails and feet done, you know, and so on and so on. And where you're gonna get your Nike sneakers from and all that other shit, you know? I'm trying to figure it out. Me, I'm not boycotting shit. This is not my fight. It really isn't. Besides, this pepper steak and fried rice is banging.
You're right. It's not your fight because you're not a black American, sir. This is the biggest issue that we have right now when it comes to this boycott. And first of all, shout out to everybody that is really standing 10 toes down, because I stand with anybody who feels that they should boycott these immigrant-ran businesses when they are not being respected in their community by them. Here's the thing, sir. You're Cuban. You're not a black American. So why the fuck are you even speaking on what the hell we're doing? And I've seen your video several times where you said some really disrespectful shit when it comes to black Americans. It's not for you to speak on anything. I don't understand why so many people who are not even a part of the black community even talking about this shit. It ain't got nothing to do with you. This has been an ongoing issue in the black community for a very long time when it comes to Asian businesses. It is. Boycott is for people to boycott what's going on when it comes to dealing with these people in their community. Of course, people are still going to buy shit that comes from Asia because everything in this motherfucker is damn near made from China. It is. It's just still befuddling to me, considering at one point to buy anything made in China was an embarrassment. Somehow it's the only thing that we could really get. Fact of the matter is, quit worrying about what the fuck black Americans is going through or what they're doing when it comes to how they're spending their dollars. I am absolutely loving the fact that so many melanated Americans, beside the ones who are only doing hair or doing lashes or getting their nails done, is actually getting the shine. We got people who make jewelry. We got people who are estheticians. We got people who are dentists. We got them all. And I am loving to see it because these people kind of get overshadowed by the amount of immigrant-ran businesses that are currently in their neighborhoods that do not respect them. It's embarrassing to see so many conservatives who have this mindset that you can't stand for Black America just because you are a conservative. What's better for Black America is what's better for America in general. It's the whole fucking point of Make America Great Again. A lot of y'all are using this Make America Great Again and the fact that you voted for Trump be fucking prejudice, and I am tired of seeing it from other melanated people. But mind your business and try to focus on what you could do for your people over there in Cuba. Not worry about what the people are doing in their neighborhoods. God damn it, we are America. Our culture is America. I don't have no need for weave shops and nail shops had it not been for Black Americans making that shit popular and trendy. But nobody wearing those big ass lashes and these long ass nails till Black Americans made that shit trendy. I just don't know where y'all got the nerve. Y'all have the nerve.
What's your thoughts on that, Dre? What's she saying?
What she's saying is spot on. I think that a lot of people, individuals, organizations are putting their 2 cents into this, and it really has nothing to do with them. And we've seen that there's been a disconnect between different groups of what they would call Blacks, whether it's Black Americans, Black Cubans, Black whatever. But there's not, they all have different issues. You know, they all have different things, and this is our issue. And we're going to really see how all of this plays out. But at the end of the day, people should not be putting their 2 cents in that are not involved.
Your thoughts, Randy?
I concur. You know, what she said, what really caught my attention is the fact that she tried to pivot to blaming conservatives. that honed in. That I honed in on that for a reason. This is not a conservative or a liberal issue per se, because this is an economic issue that affects everybody across the board. Whether or not it doesn't even matter what your politics are. If you are within that community and you're being affected by something, the politics, the silo politics doesn't even matter. It's not even part of the conversation. Is because we're not talking about policy. We're talking about a situation where you have a group of people treating another set of group of people a certain kind of way based on economics. And so I don't know why she decided to throw that in there. I understand the segue she was trying to make, but it was a very far stretch. It was a very far stretch. But to her point, her overall point about other groups having something to say about what's going on, I get it. I concur with her, but I also disagree, because once again, if you have, say, a Cuban American or even Hispanics that are looking in and saying, well, you know, what about this? Have y'all thought about that? To me, they're giving pointers that we probably are not thinking about. So I will welcome that conversation. I will welcome that, you know, that dialogue of, okay, what do y'all think? Are we doing the right thing here, or are we shooting ourselves in the foot? And that's a conversation that we should have, and not take offense to it. So that's how I look at it. But overall, yes, if you're just going to come in and criticize that the Black community in that area is boycotting, then sit down, have all the seats in the stadium, because it's to make a statement that, hey, we're going to be respected. You're going to treat us with dignity and everything else, and not just, you know, talk to us or treat us any kind of way, just for the simple fact of you have something that we like to utilize, because we can do this. We can get our own. It may take a while. It may take a while. We can get our own, but
yeah,
don't get twisted.
I was just gonna concur with Randy. Yes, we want ideas, but she was responding to this guy trolling. He was sitting there eating Chinese food and being critical of what we were doing when he has no real involvement or tie to the communities that are involved. So that's where I was in agreement. But you're spot on, Randy, because there may be people outside of this that may have some good ideas, and it's all about relationship building, because we can build things on our own, but if we have a coalition of people to help us build what we're looking to accomplish, then it's easier. Then it's harder for things to kind of get destroyed. when you have a coalition than when you're standing on your own. Let's look at Tulsa. Let's look at all those other situations where we had black established separate economies. But if we get the backing of several different groups, I think that will be even more helpful and stand for a longer period of time.
Binky, you want to comment on that?
Well, I don't worry about Nikes. So, I mean, I understand what that Asian guy was getting at. And again, it's about division. You know, this ain't a white America, this ain't a black America, this ain't an Asian America, this ain't a Cuban or Latino. This is an America, you know, and we've got to quit falling for this division that
right.
As you see, it keeps everybody divided. I don't, you know, I as a kid, I was in the black community. I never had no trouble with nobody ever. I had black friends. Oh yeah, there's a white guy. He's not racist because he said I had a black friend. Blah blah blah. You know, but it's the truth. You know, I was a gearhead. You know, I was into cars, and I had black friends that were into cars. You know, we bullshitted with people. We drank together. We worked on our cars together. Now today, every time you turn around, it's the Asian, the black, the white, the Hispanic. What, you know, we got to get this mentality out. We're Americans, you know, and nobody has got anything superior over the next guy.
Steve, to that point, I'm glad you said that. We put ourselves in these silos of hyphenated ethnicities, and being Asian American, African American, Hispanic American, whatever. But here's the thing: it is by design. And if we just petition the government and say, "Hey, stop breaking us down, breaking us into these categories," and just saying, if you are in the United States and you are an American citizen, you are just that American citizen. If you are an immigrant and you came from somewhere else, then we're going to break you down into these categories because we need to know where the hell you came from, and let it be that. But we won't do that, and we can't do that because we shoot ourselves in the foot. Matter of fact, we shoot ourselves in the face when we do this. And this is why we are where we at right now. We will never ever get over that hump of being divided amongst ourselves because we perpetuate that. We say, oh, well, you know, hey, let's go over to Chinatown. Why does it have to be Chinatown? Why we gotta go over to Jewtown? Right. We do it to ourselves.
But the point that I want to make to the Black Americans across the country, I want you to hear me clearly. See, it has to be a moment. See, the $3 trillion that Black people are spending, everybody wants that money. Everybody's trying to figure out, how do I get into the Black people's pocket? Because we know we're going to get rich off of them. Because Black businesses don't exist. Because of the fact that we are so separate and we allow everybody to come into our community and get rich. Now, my question to you gentlemen is, why is it that in the white community, it's white entrepreneurship, it's white ownership, you don't see Black businesses springing up in the white community? You don't see Black business springing up in the Hispanic community? You don't see Black businesses springing up in no other community and survive. How is it that everybody in all those other ethnic groups I just called out come into the Black community and get rich off of us and yet don't reinvest? How do you explain that, Randy?
Well, number one, it's access to the capital, access to product. And going into a Black entrepreneur going into a white community, there's a cultural barrier right out the gate. They may not have the skill set or the knowledge base to know, like, hey, I could go into this white community and sell corn pops. and they were like, I don't even eat corn pops, so why would I go in there and try to sell that? You know, I'm just not doing that. You know, I could sell Fruit Loops, but they don't eat Fruit Loops. You know, so you got that going on, but more so, it is an access to the capital. Now, I have seen, and you come down here to Austin, you see this. I have seen Africans come over and they open up a business in the white community.
That don't count.
But no, but they open up their restaurants there because they open up their African restaurant, their ethnic African restaurant, and guess what? Guess who's in there? It ain't black people. Some may stop in it. Some will stop in there, but it's mostly white people. Why? Because they see it is a delicacy to say, oh man, I can go eat some authentic African food made by some Africans or by Asians or by Mexicans or whatever. That's why they're able to succeed in that. If a black American went and said, oh, I'm gonna open up a barbecue joint in a white community, white folks are not gonna go to it. Really, they're gonna be like, I can make barbecue too.
Exactly.
We one in the same. Like your barbecue, my barbecue might be better than yours.
Exactly.
And so there's that mentality. That's why I say it's a cultural barrier that's already in place that we would not be able to overcome.
Well, that's the thing that I'm talking about. So if that cultural barrier, I got you, Mr. Mickey, to people watching the show, if that cultural barrier stopped black businesses from opening up in the white community and Hispanic community and the Italian community and the Chinese community, why doesn't that barrier exist when they come opening up businesses in the black community? Mr. Binky?
Yeah. Randy, I'm going to give you an example. I don't know if it was my area, my city, me, whatever, but, I went to a lot of black businesses. I remember one just fantastic, Big John's Barbecue. I mean, I couldn't make these barbecue ribs like he did. And I mean, this guy was very famous. And then when I was smaller, this guy made hot tamales, him and his wife, out of their house. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I remember walking down there and people in and out of this house buying hot tamales from this guy, a black man, mm-hmm. And, and here's another thing. I see fewer small businesses opening up, as you were saying, access to the product. Okay. In order for you to have a business, you've got to make a capital. You got to make a profit. Mm-hmm. And when mm-hmm. the small businesses try to sell what big stores got, they don't get that cost as low because they don't buy as big a quantity.
Yep.
So now your smaller businesses can't be competitive. You've got your utilities and your taxes and your license and you got to pay somebody to work and blah, blah, blah. You can't get this product as cheap to make a profit, to stay open, to run mm-hmm. your business as a bigger. And as a result of that, you're seeing like Walmarts and Costco and stuff, they keep getting all the business because they get the product cheaper.
Yep.
And I understand, but I think you guys missed the question. Why is it that every other ethnic group can come into the black community and survive? Look at the Orientals, the Asians, they got all the hair locked up in the nail shops and all that kind of stuff. Look at how the Mexicans, they get trucks, they open up restaurants in the black community, and we make them rich.
Yeah.
Every other ethnic group comes into the black community and we make them rich. But
Pastor,
black businesses, black businesses can't go into the white community and make no money. They can't go into the Mexican community. So why should they be allowed to come into our community and get rich off of us and not reinvest?
But Dave, I was just saying, there was black businesses in the white community. When I was a kid, there was black busises all over.
That was 50 years ago, but that's not happening now, Bink. I remember things like that.
I had barbecue joints and liquor stores that was black owned in my neighborhood in Chicago as well. Back in the day, it was the 80s and 90s. I remember going to you remember Moo and Oink,
I remember.
Those were black owned businesses, or it was franchised, But either way, you know, it was black folks that was running it.
But the point that I'm making,
But
guys, is this.
To your point is,
Yes.
no, I was to speak to your point, Pastor, that the reason why is because of that economic barrier. It's the economic and cultural barrier. And that foundational, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, okay, he's distinguishing now. Yes, I'm gonna have to. The foundational blacks cannot, or I'm not gonna say cannot, they have a difficult time penetrating into white communities or even Hispanic communities with a business because they don't have the access to the capital versus what immigrants have access to. It's just that's just what it is.
Stuff.
So what you guys are actually saying is that the reason why black businesses don't be in these other communities like they are in ours is because we don't have the economic power to do that.
Correct.
I'd have to disagree with you on that because there's a lot of entrepreneurs, just like with this hair thing. Now all of these black businesses are showing up and people are investing the money back into these black businesses so that they can expand into our communities in a bigger way. That's how it should be done.
But what kind of business are they? That's the thing. What kind of businesses are they? You know,
we have to be able now to be able to create black businesses for the services that we need for black people. See, all I'm saying is this. Let us stop having other people in our community getting rich. Let us seek out black businesses so we can invest into them and then they can invest back into the community because everybody that's in the black community, the Orientals, the Hispanics, all of them are not reinvesting into the black community.
Right.
But at the same time, they're just pulling money out.
Mm-hmm.
They're pulling money out. And so that's why you get the disrespect that we've seen with the different ethnic groups in our community because they feel like we need them. And if we don't have them, the black community will die. And this is my message for y'all. If y'all think so, that the black community going to die, get the hell out. Get out. Go Orientals, go back to Chinatown and do business with your own people. This is what I'm telling black America, that we have to stop allowing people to make money off of us, and we have to put ourselves together and create black businesses so that we can reinvest into ourselves. That's the only way the black community is going to survive because nobody else is letting us do business in their communities, but everybody in our community getting rich. That's what has to change. Go ahead,
Bing. Go ahead.
Just real quick. I look at it like this. I don't care if it's white, black, Asian, or whatever. If you've got a good product, people will go after it. I will. You know, so we need to look at the products out there. The best product's going to win. And it don't matter if you're white, black, Asian, or whatever. So we've got to dump this divisional stuff. That's just what I'm thinking. And let's be more professional about what we do. You know?
But
Right.
you know, it's not going to happen like that. It's not happening like that right now. That's wishful thinking. It's not happening like that.
We got to think that way. Or
here's the thing. Here's the other problem, Pastor, that you're not considering. Think about this. Why is it that there is not a black hair salon in the black community?
There is.
Not that many. You find one, two at best, tops. And I mean across the country. They usually would do it out their house, but I'm talking about a full-on salon. You know, I'm thinking like, you know, Steel Magnolia. Not that many. There's not. Think about it. Black women locked up in one room together for hours on end, it would be mayhem. You know, and so
I'm gonna play this. Let me play this clip right quick, and we're gonna talk about it because there are a lot of black businesses. They get overshadowed because of price. See, the Orientals are allowed to outprice them because they get it in bulk and they buy in one place.
Correct.
Check this out.
All Asian businesses. I'd like to say thank you. We haven't seen a level of unity and camaraderie this large since probably George Floyd. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I don't know if black people would have ever gotten to this point where we all unified under one singular movement this way. Like it is powerful. The Asian people are starting to feel the effects of what you have done. This is impacting your people more than it's impacting my people. We are uniting against this. You have destroyed Asian businesses. That's you. You did that. And I'd like to thank you for getting my people to work together on something like this. This means the world to me. And to the Asian people who are hurting because of the decisions and the words that this person has said, you know who to come for. He did this to you, not us. He said we don't want you guys, so we said okay.
One video in particular has gone viral after a content creator questioned how effective.
Are your thoughts on what he said, Bank?
Yeah, he's right. And it boggles my mind why it had to come to that for the black community to start coming together. That, like you said, you know, this is a society deal now. You know, it's a lack of responsibility. It's lack of education. It's a failure of a system. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why do you got to be cruel to everybody else before you get any action done? You know,
What you mean? Wait a minute. Hold up. It ain't about being cruel. It's about facing reality of a situation that we need to deal with.
Well, you got an Asian guy making threats at the black people. That's cruelty. You know, why do you got to insult somebody to get attention? Why do why can't you just learn this off the top of your head? You know,
Right.
This ought to be something just simple you're taught as a child.
But this is what will get Black America back on track.
Okay. I don't
Here's a solution to Black Americans across the country. Malcolm X said it best. We need our own. This is the bottom line of it is. We have to create our own Black businesses in our own community and start patronizing them and unifying ourselves and becoming self-sufficient. See, as long as people are coming in the community getting rich, there will be no unity amongst Black people because they're going to be taking our dollars, putting them somewhere else. My solution to every Black community across America, let us take our dollars out of this economy and reintroduce it back into the Black community, just like the Black Wall Street. When the Black Wall Street was in effect, the Black community flourished. We had everything that we needed. And that's why it became the most richest, wealthiest communities in America. It's because we was reinvesting into each other. That's why. And you didn't see Asian businesses in the Black community during the Black Wall Street area. That's because there were Black entrepreneurs who provided all the services to the Black community that they needed. And I think we have to get back to that concept and that mindset that we have to create in the Black community, the idea of the Black Wall Street reinvesting into itself, creating generational wealth, and moving forward just like every other community is doing that's in America. Randy, your last thoughts, we're going to get out of here.
My question is, I 100% agree with you, but my question is to those South Carolinians that are boycotting those Asian companies. Then what? You know,
exactly.
Then what? You know, after you shut down that business, then what? You know, are you going to step in and fill that void for that community, or are you going to say, oh well, we're just going to go down the street to the other one that's still running, and it's going to be a perpetuated cycle again? So that's what we have to get over, is the fact that it's okay to boycott. Cool. Send a message. Absolutely. But if you're not ready or willing to step in and fill that void and fill that gap and fill that need in that community, you did it all for nothing. And those Asians, they're going to sit back and say, okay, yeah, I may have to.
We're going to wait you out.
Yeah. we have to close for a few weeks. Okay, whatever. We're gonna still be stacking our money because guess what? We're gonna go right back to the government and get more money, and we're gonna come back and open up, and you're gonna bring your black ass right back in here. And so this is what we have to get over, And until we do that, I salute them. Great effort, but where are you gonna go from here? So, but hey, thank you all for thanks for the great conversation, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And for everyone out there, you can follow me at rperm on all social medias and all that good stuff, and check out my book, Polarizing America. We talk about this kind of things.
Right, Mr. Binky.
Well, they had a big celebration at the White House over the weekend here and stuff. And we're supposed to be celebrating a 250th anniversary of our Declaration of Freedom. And we've been sitting here talking about division. We've been talking about how we can prosper. We've been talking about how we can start getting along, I guess. So why don't we, instead of just partying on the July 4th here, why don't we start figuring out who the real bosses are? And let's start taking back what belongs to us. And that way, maybe we can have our own businesses, get our Black Wall Street back, be prosperous, and be in control of our own lives. And we've been talking this whole hour about problems that we need to come up with solutions for. So my homework is where do you want to be in your life? Where do you want your kids to be in life? And how can you get it? We already was given it 250 years ago. Why can't we have it today?
Mm-hmm. Man, thank you guys for being on. We're going to get together. And like I said, it's a lot of great things going on. And I'll see you guys Friday or next week. Y'all have a blessed weekend.
You too.
Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in. And I want to say this. Again, I welcome the boycott that's happening. This is a wake-up call for the Black community. We see that we can pull our dollars out of the people that are hating us, but yet want our money. They treat us like dogs, and yet they want our money. This boycott is saying a lot to Black America, and our eyes should be opening. Just think that if the Black community would open stores by Black owners and reinvest it into itself, that doesn't make it a racist situation. That makes it self-sufficient. And that's the point that I'm making. That's what should be happening. There shouldn't be Orientals in the Black community selling hair. There should be Black entrepreneurs selling hair to Black people. There shouldn't be Mexicans running around selling food in our community. No, because we can't do it in other people's communities. So this boycott is a wake-up call for Black people to start becoming self-sufficient and reinvesting into ourselves. Because if we take the idea of the Black Wall Street and reinvest it into our own communities, created entrepreneurship, and taught our children and teach our children how to be entrepreneurs and how to run these businesses, the Black businesses, the Black community will become self-sufficient, and we can stand on our own and teach our children what we want to teach, create generational wealth, not only in one place, but all places. And that's what the American dream about. A capitalistic country, making it great again by being self-sufficient. God bless you. Thank y'all for tuning in.